Also want to talk to you about another big story that we have been following and take a live look at this hour over El Paso, Texas. You can see that right there on your screen at this hour. Now, the Pentagon allowed U.S. Customs and Border Protection to use an anti-drone laser earlier this week, leading the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, to suddenly close the airspace there over El Paso, Texas yesterday. That has since reopened. That's all according to the Associated Press, with the information coming, we're told, from various military sources. Now, the FAA announced it was shutting down all flight traffic over the city on the U.S.-Mexico border for about 10 days, stranding some travelers, but the closure actually ended up lasting just a few hours. The Trump administration said that it all stemmed from the FAA and Pentagon working to halt an incursion by Mexican cartel drones. The Associated Press also reporting that the laser was deployed near Fort Bliss without coordinating with the FAA, which decided then to close the airspace to ensure commercial air safety. We also have this statement coming in from Senator Ted Cruz there, a Republican representing Texas, and he said, quote, "My team has been working with the FAA, DOW, and others to gather more information about that temporary airspace closure in El Paso. I'm hopeful more details can be publicly shared in the coming days on interagency coordination." So, Wiz, again, what do you make of all of this? Because we're talking about Mexican cartel drones, and what does all of that really mean?
Josh, this is huge. This is a foreign country and terrorists in a foreign country flying essentially military equipment across our border into our country. I mean, Northern Command, Northcom, this is bad, right? We're supposed to prevent another 9/11. Terrorist, which President Trump has designated these cartels as terrorist organizations, using drones to operate in American airspace. Josh, if you want to get a couple kilos or whatever across the border, why would you put it in an old lady's suitcase or try and hide it in a car crossing the border? Why not just strap it to a drone and fly across? So this is bad. You know, there's a great Tom Clancy movie, Clear and Present Danger, and the Ronald Reagan-like president said, hey, these cartels represent a clear and present danger to the sovereignty and the safety of the United States. Josh, years ago, warfare changed. Drone warfare in Ukraine and Russia, the world's changed. And if you remember, Josh, a year or so ago, Ukraine snuck some 18-wheelers into Russia or built some fake houses near Russian strategic air bases. Somebody pushed a button on their cell phone and the roofs on those things opened up, and they took out about a third of Russia's strategic air command. I mean, drones are just absolutely capable of doing some horrific damage. I'm sure, Josh, you've seen the movie Miracle on the Hudson. Look at what a flock of birds can do to an airliner. What do you think a flock of drones can do to an airliner on a 747 on final approach into Miami International Airport? A drone swarm could take out all four of those engines and bring down an airliner. I don't want to sound like a panic in here, but as a fighter pilot, as an options trader, I'm always looking for what potentially bad can happen. So this is a big deal. The fact that Army air defense installation at Fort Bliss took down what, let's just call it, enemy aircraft or enemy drones is a massive development. And President Trump's been pretty clear with President Scheinbaum down there. Either you sit on these drug cartels or we're going to do it for you. So this was a big escalation yesterday, Josh.
Do you think at this point, based on your experience, that there is going to be more information coming out? Again, a lot of this stuff probably does have to remain fairly classified. That's why we're hearing from quote-unquote sources that are speaking with Reuters, the Associated Press, Fox News, all of them to provide just a little bit of information. But do you think we're actually going to learn more about what happened?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the truth always comes out. It doesn't matter how top secret something can be like this. It's going to get out. As you know, Washington's full of leakers. But Josh, whether it's the war in Ukraine or what's going on in the Middle East or this stuff, I usually end each part of my brief to my Top Gun Options members with, this is going to get worse. Drone technology is cheap, it's readily available, and it can fly across borders relatively easily. So we're worried about borders of countries and conflict on the other side of the planet when we really need to be focusing on our southern border. This is a massive development, and these drones are extremely dangerous, not just in and of themselves and potentially carrying hazardous cargo. Again, I don't want to freak people out, but I've seen drones over Ukraine, like fire drones. These things just dropping phosphorus or whatever the substance is, and just kind of like napalm. Imagine one of those flying over a stadium, Josh. I mean, this is everything's changed with drone technology, and the fact that these cartels feel emboldened to operate cross-border is a big deal.
And we're looking at a post here from Representative Veronica Escobar. She was very vocal yesterday as all of this was getting underway. She's a Democrat there representing that portion of Texas. And she said, to be clear, this was the result of incompetence at the highest levels of the administration. Next for me and my team is ensuring our community gets all the answers we deserve and that no other community has to deal with what we had to endure. Now, it's important to note that, of course, she is taking a shot there at the Trump administration and the administration that's in charge of all of this. But what's clear after hearing from Ted Cruz and Representative Veronica Escobar is there seems to be some agreement that something maybe went wrong and they want answers at this point. So it has to be one of those situations where it's kind of getting bipartisan, I guess, agreement there.
Well, Josh, I get it. Some of these people would complain it's not hot enough in hell if Trump was Satan, and many of them actually do believe the guy is. But at the end of the day, Josh, the Army air defense batteries in Fort Bliss and the Customs or Border Patrol folks saw a threat, they knocked it down. The fact that they weren't in immediate communication with the FAA, I really don't care about at this point. Here's what we're going to do, Josh. Any sort of military engagement or something like this, what do we do after it's done? We get into a room and we debrief. What worked, what didn't? How are we going to improve our future execution? So as an aviator, Josh, if something goes wrong in an airplane, I'm taught to do three things in order: aviate, navigate, communicate. Fly the airplane, and then once you're flying the airplane, figure out where you need to go. And the last thing on that list, Josh, is to talk, right? Because up at 30,000 feet, if I'm dealing with something, ain't nothing a guy in a tower is going to be able to do to help me. So I get what they're saying, but throttle back, folks. We'll figure out how to improve our execution. I'm glad it was kind of like this. It wasn't a massive terrorist attack, thank God. But again, Josh, I mean, some partisan sniping just is not what's needed.
All right. Matthew Wiz Buckley, as always, thank you so much for being here with us. Anything else that we missed that you want to make sure we mention here before I let you go?
You bet, man. I always, at the end, we got to give a shout out to the young women and the young men in the United States Army at Fort Bliss who are protecting our airspace. God bless them and let them get home safe to their families.
All right. Matthew Wiz Buckley, retired Navy FA-18 fighter pilot and great friend of the show. Anything else? Excuse me. Thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate it.
All right, Josh, we'll see you.
And of course, you are taking a live look there over El Paso, Texas. We will keep you updated here as we get any additional information on the situation. But important to note that closure only lasted for a few hours, and now everything is back open there as far as the airspace goes. There were a few issues yesterday with delayed flights, canceled flights as a result. But again, everything expected to be back to normal for the most part today.